Hey guys, welcome to this episode with the Wizard of Odds. This one's just gonna have Dallas and the Clippers on in the background. Another ongoing NBA playoff series with Dallas taking game 2 today to tie that one and potentially, well, now they do have home court advantage. Um, so, pretty surprising for them. We saw some crazy finishes yesterday. Jamal Murray's game winner to put the Nuggets up 2-0, which in my mind kind of puts the Lakers dead in the water. It'd be very, very tough for them to win 4 out of 5 games from here. And then the Knicks also with just a crazy sequence to finish the game, down by 5 with 40 seconds to go. Brunson hits a 3 that had no right to go in, and then just some crazy defense and like uh, getting the ball back, an offensive rebound from Hartenstein, massive play, and Dante DiVincenzo delivers the dagger, and then Hartenstein with a block on the other end to essentially seal the game. Um, but anyway, let's get into what this weekend I'm going to be giving my tips and just talking a bit about all the games in both the NRL for round 8 and the AFL for round 7. I'm going to try and make it quick. Don't want to do a massive video. Just get straight to the point, essentially. Um, so I've already gone through and picked my best lines for the weekend and my best total match points in all the games. And I've pretty much picked one thing from every game, which is my favourite pick. So those are the ones I'm going to be providing and kind of giving a little bit of reason to. So let's start off. So we'll go NRL first tomorrow night. We've got 3 games for Anzac Day. The first at 2 p.m. Queensland time. We've got the Warriors and the Titans in New Zealand. The line here is 12.5, and the total points number is, just 1 second, so it's 44.5 over, and the line is, yes, still 12.5. So a lot of my picks this week actually were helped off of the video that I did the other day, just about the season so far breakdown sort of thing, and this is one that kind of had a bit of a part to play in it. The Warriors, they just haven't been incredible, and in my mind, this 12.5 is a big number, considering the Titans have kind of found their attack, especially last week, but maybe in the last couple of weeks. The Warriors, after having 30 put on them by the Dragons last week, they should be coming out and with a defensive intent. But saying that, the Titans, if they can play like they did last week, they should still be able to get some points on the board. And 2 converted tries just feels too big of a number here. On Anzac Day, players are going to be fired up. So we've taken the Titans plus 12.5 for that one. Second game, St George and Sydney, pretty famous. Sydney Roosters, pretty famous Anzac Day clash. So the Dragons have come in to a now 5.5 point line head start, and the total points is over 43.5. This is one that I couldn't really pick. I have gone the Roosters, but the Dragons do seem to fire up for these games, and it's one that I could see going either way, really. The Roosters had them covered last year, and the Dragons, with some late game brilliance, came back and won, and might have scored on the last play to win, if I recall correctly, or something similar to that sort of ending. But my tip in this one is going to be the over 43.5 points. I just think this is going to be a bit more free flowing. the Dragons, if the Roosters can get rolling, I don't think the Dragons will have much of a defensive answer for them. Roosters have everyone back. Sam Walker's named to play this week. Teddy back there. So I feel like the Roosters definitely have the better side, but it's about the feeling in the game and if the Dragons can compete with them. But yeah, this game just screams points to me. I can see this being like a 26-18 finish, or along those sort of lines, possibly closer to 50. So that's my feel for that game, is the over 43.5 total match points. Then the last game on Anzac Day, the Storm and the Rabbitohs at Amy Park in Melbourne. We've got the line set at a plus 14.5 for the Rabbitohs, and the total points over 43.5. The tip for this one's going to be the Rabbitohs at the plus 14.5. Now, they have been very underwhelming so far this year. Just not impressive whatsoever. But this is one that my analysis the other day has had a big impact on, based on the fact that Melbourne just can't seem to close the door on games and put up big margins on teams they've only just been getting home. So I don't really, when I look at this 14 points, that's a big start. The Rabbitohs have still been put on notice by Demetriou to perform. Cook's back this week. Still not like the team that we all would have envisioned for the Rabbitohs come the start of the season. No Latrell still. Ilias still. He got injured after being dropped anyway. But there's some young guys who are going to be looking to make a case for themselves to have a permanent spot in the side and make a name for themselves and that sort of thing. So I think the Rabbitohs should be able to cover that 14.5. I don't trust Melbourne so far to be able to put a team away by that big of a margin. It could happen, but I'd happily take the 14.5 for the Rabbitohs. So that's the tip there. Friday night, only one game. We've got Manly and Para at Brookie, I believe. So the line is currently the Eels plus 9.5, and the total match points over 44.5. This is one where, again, just mainly based off the video the other day, Manly's going a lot better than I originally thought, and I'm sure what a lot of other people have thought. Para, just an abysmal, abysmable, I don't even know how you say that word now, I've just had a mind blank. Just a shocking performance against the Dolphins up in Darwin. So, there could be a bounce back factor there. But personally, I think Manly's rolling a bit too well. Still no Moses for Para. They do get Sivo back this week, but I think Manly should be too good. Para did defeat them earlier in the season, so there's a revenge factor there for Manly. So I think they're going to have enough to cover that minus 9.5 on Friday night. Saturday, 5:30. We've got Tigers and Broncos. This one wasn't too hard for me as a Tigers fan. Looking at the lineups, Brisbane almost back to full strength. They've got Haas back. Well, they've named Haas, they've named Reynolds. Walsh now 2 weeks back from his injury. I believe Selwyn Cobbo's out, but he that doesn't really do too much for me against the Tigers. I don't think it's a massive diminishing factor or anything like that. Tigers named a little little bit of a change side from last week, playing Bateman at lock. Samuel Afinu starts in the second row, and Fanua Pole drops to the bench. And those changes really don't do anything for me. We saw Bateman at lock a little bit last year, and it's better, I think, but not that much better. So yeah, the Tigers are a plus 11.5. The total is over 45.5. I've easily gone for the Broncos to cover the minus 11.5 here. Not much thought to it. I think with all their guys back, they should be able to get this done. I mean, they've been getting it done against Canberra on the weekend, and I think there was another game against the Dolphins. They've been taking care of these teams by quite a margin without Haas and Reynolds. So I feel like 11.5 is a bit generous. To be honest, I feel like this should be at least 13, possibly even 15. This could be a massive number if those guys all play. But things can change, so I guess we'll see. But the tip there is the Broncos minus 11.5. Saturday night we've got the Cowboys and the Panthers. This one I've tipped the Panthers, but it's just a funny number. Cleary named to be back this week, so the line is plus 9.5 for the Cowboys, and the total is over 40.5. So I do think the Panthers will get the job done here, but you don't really know with the Cowboys. Like they could score some points here. Like, I know Penrith's probably maybe not statistically, maybe they are. I haven't really had a look, but at the end of the day, if you asked who the best defensive team in the comp was, you'd go with Penrith. Saying that though, the tip here is over 40.5 points. I think Penrith with Cleary back, the Cowboys they roll over when the going gets tough, and I think Penrith's outside back should be able to get a few tries here once the Cowboys start getting tired. And then, if the Cowboys can score a few tries, then that only helps the case for the over 40.5 points. So I feel pretty good about that one. I think that was the lowest number for the weekend. So yeah, I feel good about playing that one. Sunday afternoon, first game is the Dolphins and the Knights. This is one that I had huge trouble with when picking the line. It's set at a plus 7.5 for the Knights, and the total is over 44.5. That 7.5 is just in this game. It feels like a very tough number for me. I know Ponga's out, but the Dolphins have so many outs. I feel like the Knights have got to show that they can show up without Ponga. So this was a very tough one for me. So my obvious pick has ended up being a points line. And, Sunday afternoon, Suncorp Stadium, we're going for some points. We're going to over 44.5 points, and we're going to go into this thinking it's a free-flowing game, and there's plenty of attack. I can see some centres like Bradman Best and Dane Gagai and Jake Averillo having a bit of a field day. Feel like it's going to be a day for the centres specifically. And there could be a lot of points in this one. The last game of the round, Raiders and the Sharks. So the line is currently 7.5 plus 7.5 for the Raiders, and total is over 43.5. This wasn't probably the second hardest one that I found for the weekend, because it's in Canberra. Canberra can be a tough team to beat. They've come off some underwhelming performances recently, and the Sharks obviously just had a pretty solid win over the weekend. So your instant thought is, oh yep, the Sharks should have them covered, right? But the Raiders have won the last 5 games at least. in a row at at GIO or whatever the stadium's called. Um, so the pick here's ended up being under 43.5. Sorry, I was just gathering my thoughts, and just praying that this is like a low scoring game, because the Raiders might not be able to put up a lot of points, and same for the Sharks. Like their attack can be throwing when they get rolling, but Canberra should be focusing on defence this game, and the cold weather down in Canberra, everyone's muscles are going to be a bit tighter, and it won't be as free flowing as expected. I think as Kyrie just hit that crazy shot. Um, so yeah, the tip there is going to be under 43.5 points. Now going to the AFL. So tonight we've got our first game. I'm hoping this is up in time for that, but we'll see how we go. This is, it's not a major blowout of the line, but last night the line was plus 28.5 for Richmond. It's now at 31.5. The over is 164.5. I think this is like a standalone game. The cameras are going to be out. I think 31 now even is. I was happy with the 28, and I just feel that 31's a bit too big of a number. The Demons have been good so far this year, and Richmond has been pretty poor. But both teams coming off the bye. Richmond, I think, bit healthier. Dusty's playing, and they'll be looking to bounce back from a pretty disappointing loss to West Coast only a couple of weeks ago. So the tip here is going to be Richmond. Look, if the line comes in to 28, I'd take that. Maybe even to 25. But at 31, like that's 5 goals and a behind. I feel like that's a pretty good number to be sitting on. Tomorrow we've got 2 games. So firstly, Essendon and Collingwood. For Anzac Day, we've got the line at plus 13.5 for Essendon, and the total at over 169.5. This one's a bit of a hard one to split. Collingwood's finally starting to find their form of last season again. It feels, just coming back in games and that sort of character. Essendon's been playing solidly as well though, and the feelings are going to be high for Anzac Day. This is an annual clash for Anzac Day, I believe. So I'm kind of hesitant to take either team at the line, and it just feels like it's going to be more of a defense focused game. So the tip is going to be the under 169.5 for that one. That should be a good game. Then the second game is GWS against the Lions. Toby Green out was the big factor for me here. Suspended, and you shouldn't be relying on one guy for you to win a game, but that's a big out. I know they're at home, and they've been rolling, but I'd rather be on the Lions here. So the line is 1.5 plus 1.5 for the Lions, and over 168.5. So there could be a lot of points, but then GWS could kind of lose their mojo a bit with Toby Green out. He might not score all the goals every week. I know Jesse Hogan's been lighting it up so far, but he certainly is the staple of their attack, and creates a lot of opportunities for others just on the defensive attention that he lures. So yeah, without him there, I've got to take the Lions at the +1.5 for this one, and I like head to head's probably a good bet, but the value's just not there for me. Like you get 6 cents extra for head to head, and I'd rather just have them with the 1 point start, and if they lose by one, then it's all right. But yeah, I think that's the tip there. Then Friday night we've got Port Adelaide and St Kilda. The line is +20.5 for St Kilda and over 162.5. This is another one. You know, 20 is a big number, but it's really hard to see what's going to happen in this game. St Kilda, they're a solid team. You know, I'd probably lean towards them covering here, but Port, you know, just got their asses handed to them by Collingwood after having a big lead early and then choking it and losing big in the end. So I'm kind of, don't really want to take either team with the line there. The over, I think this is the lowest for the weekend so far. So the tip here is going to be over 162.5. Port did like they were scoring quickly early last week. So I'm going to bank on the fact that they can manufacture that again, and hopefully St Kilda with Max King back in the team should be able to follow suit and put some points on themselves. Saturday afternoon we've got North Melbourne Kangaroos and the Crows. The line is currently +28.5 for the Kangaroos, and the total is 175.5. 28's a massive number as well, obviously, but this is another one where I just don't have a lot of faith in either team to cover. The Crows are clearly the better team, but they've had a really rough start to the year, as they did last year, possibly if I'm not wrong. Just haven't been able to quite get on the board in the win column, more so than the scoreboard. But you know, won from their last 5. But North are in horrendous form as well after they looked like they were in for a better season in the pre-season. So you know, I don't really trust either team with the start there. 175 is a big number for the points, but that's going to be the tip. I can just see Nick Larkey and Tex, you know, either one of them kicks 5, and Adelaide's got a lot of guys who like to play fast up the front in Joshua Shelley and Isaac Rankin, and you know, I can see this being a bit of a goal-a-thon. I don't usually like to take a number that big, but I normally play the under, but I feel some points coming in this game, so that's going to be the tip there. Geelong and Carlton. This is another one where essentially an injury has forced my hand in my pick. So the line is currently +2.5 for Carlton, over 169.5. I've got to take Carlton with the +2.5 here. Geelong's been in cracking form, but Tom Stewart should be out with concussion, I believe. He's a massive out. You know, when Carlton's running with Harry Mackay and Charlie Kerner up the front, Tom Stewart's easily the best defender, if not in the comp, but on that Geelong team. And him being out is just is a massive deterrent from taking Geelong this week. So I'm got to take Carlton with the start there, and I have good faith in that one as well. Following that one, we've got Freo on the Dogs. The line currently +2.5 for the Dogs and over 162.5. This is one just based on what I saw last week. The Dogs were really good. Their attack was flowing. You know, it looks like they might have found something in that game. And Freo, I think they got rolled by West Coast, didn't they? So, it's a bit hard to enthuse them after that performance. They are at home, but yeah, after last week's games, I've got to be taking the Dogs with the +2.5 here. That just feels like the way to go. Sunday afternoon, we've got Gold Coast and West Coast. The line is +31.5 for West Coast. The total is over 166.5. This is one, like, the Suns just aren't travelling that well. West Coast have just won back-to-back games for probably the first time in the last 2 or 3 years, and quite convincingly in both as well. So, they might be riding a bit of form. The Suns have got some guys' names that I've never even heard of. I saw them, and I'm surprised that this line is that big. So yeah, I've got to take West Coast at the +31.5 here. That's a massive number, it feels, in this game. I can't understand. I don't understand why it's so high. But West Coast is a tip there. And then final game of the round, we've got Hawthorn and the Swans. The line is +18.5 for Hawthorn and over 169.5. This one was one that I had no hesitation with. Hawthorn off the back of a win, but before that, we're just getting blown out every week. Sydney's been in tremendous form. Surprisingly, in my mind, I thought they would have lost a bit with the loss of Franklin. They've been playing Isaac Heaney in the middle a bit. Just like the team just didn't look that great to me on paper, but they've been performing really well, and it's hard to ride off that form. So, 3 goals and a behind, I'm happy to take that, -18.5 on the Swans. So yeah, that's the tips for the weekend. Hopefully, hopefully we can come up with a winning performance for the weekend. If you follow, good luck. Gamble responsibly, and yeah, let's get some winners. Thanks, guys.